What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, we're going to talk about some pretty big names leaving BioWare. So this is pretty funny because 3 days in a row, I never thought something like this could happen. 3 days in a row on this channel, we talked about 3 different companies losing people. We talked about Sony Ben losing 2 of their heads. We talked about the creator of Gravity Rush leaving Sony, and now we get to talk about pretty much the GM, the manager of BioWare leaving, Casey Hudson, who obviously you guys should know that name. He was brought in. Remember, he's actually left a few times. This actually isn't anything new. This is the second time that he left. He left many years ago. He came back, I think, 3 years ago, and he's been overseeing some stuff at BioWare for 3 years. They also lost Mark Dara. Now, I don't really know what exactly he does, although he is a veteran BioWare employee. Again, it's just a lot of speculation as to what these things are actually going to do. I feel like these situations each have been a little different, right? For Days Gone, one of the people that left, he left a year ago, right? And we talked about that. And while he's written all of their games, they've been working on Days Gone. You have to think they've been working on Days Gone for a little while. So, I mean, it's been going on, and we haven't really heard anything negative about it. And, he left. And then Jeff Ross obviously left, and that's a very, very big deal as well. Obviously with Toyama, right, leaving Sony, being the creator of Silent Hill, being the creator of Gravity Rush, we don't know what necessarily he was doing at Sony Japan for the last little while. And also, you don't start a studio the day it's announced that you left the company. You know what I mean? So this has been, I would assume, going on for a while. And if he knew he was starting a studio, he would have, this would have been a thing that would have happened, I would say, over a long period of time, where maybe they could have, I don't know, just figured stuff out, right, where they would have made that loss less impactful. For this, I feel like this is kind of a big deal. When you have somebody like, specifically, because Casey Hudson, I think, is the bigger deal here. When you have somebody like him leave, it's just not a good look. When you have, like, and really, you look kind of like the Halo Infinite for an example of that. You've seen all of basically the heads of Halo Infinite leaving and new people being brought in, people being in basically to manage the workflow of that game, right? And, I mean, what do we know about Halo Infinite? Basically, the development of it is a disaster. Now, I'm not anti-Halo. In fact, I'm very excited for Halo Infinite. I'm going to be probably getting an Xbox Series blank console for Halo Infinite. So it's not like I'm against them or anything, but when you have big names like that leave, or you have people to come in literally to manage people's work schedule, it's a disaster. And Halo Infinite, again, I think there's been, many more examples of why this entire situation is a disaster. The other thing to remember, too, is Dragon Age 4. And so this really, in my opinion, affects Dragon Age 4. It also, I believe, affects Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I believe they're taking one of the heads of the Anthem 2.0 team, and they're moving that person to Dragon Age 4. So there's a lot of shuffling going on, but this is just, Dragon Age 4 has already had some issues that we've kind of heard. Now, they've been through rumors, they've been through leaks, so you don't have to obviously believe them if you don't want to, right? They could very well turn out to be false, but the sound of Dragon Age 4 is, I guess, to boil it down, as simple as it can, Dragon Age 4 sounds like it's going to be the destruction of that franchise, much like Andromeda was with Mass Effect, much like Anthem was just with Anthem, right? Just being a pure disaster. These games from BioWare specifically, or BioWare in general, I think has been having the hardest time on planet Earth, really ever since Mass Effect 3 ended. And I think eventually there'll be a reset where, like, things will be okay there, but it's not yet. I think in order to get to that reset, we have to literally destroy all of the properties and licenses that we love so dearly. I mean, I've talked about it before, right? I love Dragon Age Inquisition. In fact, tomorrow on my main channel on Podcast Now, I'm actually talking about the possibility of Dragon Age, a trailer for Dragon Age 4 being at the Game Awards. Now, I recorded that before this happened. I don't think that honestly would change anything, but it's just, it's not a good look. It's not, again, each of these examples, these 3 days in a row that we've talked about this stuff, each day has been different. It's absolutely been different. But I think this one, obviously, again, yesterday with Gravity Rush, that, when you look at it, it's like, okay, well, that probably means there is no Gravity Rush 3. But it's not like Gravity Rush 3 was in development, and then he leaves, and it's like, okay, well, what do we do with Gravity Rush 3 now? No, these are high-level people working on Dragon Age 4 that we've already heard a lot of very negative things about, that this game doesn't sound like it's going too well, that they're changing a lot of things to make it pretty much not Dragon Age. These are all things we've heard over the last 2 years, and none of them have been good. and now you have high-level people leaving. I choose, like, I'm an optimistic guy by trade, okay? You watch these channels, you watch the videos I make. I've talked about a lot of games that, haven't exist, or like, leaks and rumors say they exist, but they, nobody knows it. I talk about it. I push that optimism, that hope that these games are real, right? And I'm big on also, like, giving games a chance. Again, if you guys have watched, I've said numerous times, like, I'm willing to give pretty much any game the benefit of the doubt and a chance of playing it. I'm into a lot of different games. But for this, like, I want to remain optimistic, and I still will. Like, I'm going to be buying the game. I'll be, covering it when we see trailers, when we see gameplay. I'll be doing all that stuff. This is years of a process of covering this game that I will be doing. But, I mean, deep inside my heart, I think I'm expecting a disaster. I really am. I mean, maybe not like a pure disaster, but I'm expecting it to not be up to snuff, basically, with Dragon Age Inquisition. I want it to be. I'm hopeful for it. But in reality, you see the writing on the walls, and I think, again, it's easy to brush one or two things off, right? Something happens here, something happens there. It's like, oh, well, that's a one-off kind of thing. Or the company's solid, so just because one of these things even like Sony Japan, I mean, yeah, Toyama made Gravity Rush and all that, but, like, he could have worked on other stuff, and it's like, well, did him leaving ruin that stuff? Or again, the people with Days Gone, like, is Days Gone 2 in some big trouble? I mean, it could be, but I think that they probably have a solid enough foundation. You look at BioWare, there's nothing really that, like, shows confidence that, like, they've proven, what I mean, over the last little while. Now, with Mass Effect, they were the top of the game. They were the best, RPG makers out there. I don't really think that can be denied, right? It's just that since then, really for the past 5, 6, 7 years, like, you have all the stuff that's happened with them, with all of these different games, and then you have all of these signs now with Dragon Age, and it's very hard to say, well, it's a one-off, or, well, Casey Hudson doesn't matter, or, well, those are rumors that they're making big changes to the game that nobody's going to like. Well, yeah, but then put them all together. You know what I mean? And what is that? And also, it's not like BioWare is the most, just company that's doing everything right at their current time. You know what I mean? They're not on their A game as of right now. So you have all this stuff happening. You have BioWare in general, which people aren't very confident in just in the first place. You put that all together, and it doesn't seem very good. So, yeah, I mean, this is a big deal. This is not something I think that's a good thing at all. Now, yet again, you could say, well, if Casey Hudson is kind of managing over Dragon Age 4, and Dragon Age 4 is said to have a lot of problems, and Dragon Age 4 is said to be making some changes that people aren't going to like, well, then maybe you should get rid of him. Maybe he's not the right guy. Or maybe he was kind of the voice of reason, and maybe it was other people in the. We don't know where some of the stuff came from. Who is making these big changes? Who's it getting through? We don't know that stuff. So really, I mean, if you want to look at it optimistically, maybe removing him actually helps the game. But I don't know. He's been there for so long, and I guess obviously over the last while, only a couple of years. But before then, he was really praised and kind of credited as one of the main factors why BioWare was so good. So I don't necessarily think it was his fault. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see how it goes. But let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think Dragon Age 4 is in some big trouble? What do you think about these departures? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I do a brand new video on this channel every single day. And so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.